The RefMasters Soccer session. I'm Sony from the RefMasters team. So today we're talking positioning and mechanics. This is an interesting one for me. I've spent the last few years listening to a lot of sessions about positioning mechanics, baseball umpires, with football referees and basketball referees. This is my first time sitting with all of you in this virtual space with soccer officials talking about this topic. So I'm really excited about seeing what's similar and what's different. So we've got a special guest tonight. I'll pass it to our still special but more regular host, Chris, to do the introduction there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sonny, and welcome everybody. Happy Monday night. Happy President's Day. Appreciate everybody taking the time out to jump on tonight. We're lucky to be joined by one of my fellow coworkers, and believe it or not, I'll show my age. Somebody I used to mentor back when he refereed youth soccer, coming up through the USYS youth ranks, the regional tournaments, and the national tournaments, just to show how old I am. But we're joined tonight by Rubio Vasquez, who's one of the US's FIFA international referees, has been a pro referee for quite some time now, and somebody I consider a dear friend, but also obviously a coworker, and somebody who's really good at what he does. And we're both fortunate to practice our skills, practice our trades in this space. So welcome, Rubio. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So RefMasters is a wonderful place. The crowd has spoken. So tonight's session is positioning and movement. That's been voted on by the members. So typically what happens is I throw a poll in to the RefMasters space. These guys and gals will tell us what they want to see. Positioning and movement was a topic that won by a landslide this time around. So I've handpicked some clips. We got about a dozen clips. We'll see how many we get through. They're all related to positioning and movement. Just a few disclaimers. You're going to see a clip. We're going to want to, as referees, we're going to want to talk about the decision, right? And we can talk about that tonight, but just remember that the topic is positioning and movement. So sure, there's probably a decision that ends up being made or not made in this clip, but our learning points tonight, we want to focus on positioning and movement and what we did well to get that decision right, or maybe what we could have done better to put us in a better spot to get that decision right. A few things about positioning and movement, not that I want to make this an instructional session because I know it's more about clip analysis, but this is an area that we've spent a lot of time on. We've really spent time focusing on domestically, professionally, as well as internationally. Tori gets a lot of instruction at FIFA tournaments and FIFA events when it comes to positioning and movement and how important it is in the modern game because of how fast the modern game has become. So we talk about things like giving ourselves an angle, making sure we can see in between the players. And we talk a lot nowadays about transitions and breakdowns and recognizing those things when they happen in a game so that we're not chasing all the time, right? So just some things to keep in mind when we look at clips tonight. Think about the transition, think about the breakdown, try to recognize when, at the earliest moment you can, when the play breaks down. And because that is what triggers our transition, right? So the quicker we notice, the quicker we can identify the breakdown, the quicker we can trigger our transition, and the easier it will be for us to be ahead of play and in a good position prior to any big decision being made. Rubio, anything I missed, anything you want to add?
Oh, good. Just that I think key too, if we talk a little bit about it, is the scanning, which I think is going to be huge in the clips that we see, and think of that before even going to the next phase. But scanning, I think, is a big word that we'll probably be using a lot.
Yep. So be prepared. We're going to blow Sonny's mind tonight because he's used to learning about positioning in baseball and basketball and football, where no offense to that crowd, we do slightly more running than all three of those sports. Right now, basketball covers some ground end to end to end over the span of 4 quarters. Those baseball guys, though, and I'm going to have a talk with Brennan and Malachi, they don't really cover a lot of ground like we do. Right. So, and I'll chat with them later. We'll open their eyes to some real movement here in soccer. But Sony, without further ado, the clips are in no particular order, so we can jump in. You can fire at will.
I will, and I see Guido's joined us as well. So,
oh my gosh,
great
star-studded.
Oh, Guido's in the house.
I need to come and learn from the best. The 2 guys that move the best in our group.
Oh, I don't move at all. Who are you talking about? We are frozen. Sonny's still getting things in order, no problem. All right, now, Sonny, before you go any further, let's pause it here. Albert, we're going to pick on you to start. Go back to the start of the clip, Sonny. Go forward, go forward, go forward. Now pause it here. Albert, what do you notice?
So the attacker has basically kind of two options. One is going to do what he ends up doing, which is go forward into the area, and one is pass it across. So the referee sort of kind of trailing with a good angle to see between the players there, but also in a position to go wide in case he does cross the ball.
Okay.
My initial take.
So all valid points. Now, if you hadn't seen this clip yet, right, and if I hadn't let Sonny play it as far as I let him play it, if you only seen it to this point, where would you think? What is your guess as a soccer guy? What do you think is going to happen? What is most likely?
I think he goes left.
You think he goes left? So you think the attacker takes on the defender?
I do.
One-on-one.
Yeah.
And I think that is I think if you're a betting man, those are the odds to take, right? He's got a teammate central. That teammate's between two defenders, right? So that's not likely to happen. He's got a guy on the far side, but that defender, the third defender in, is in a good enough position that the guy on the far side is not really an option, right? So you've got this tall attacker who's probably good with the ball at his feet, has speed, and he's taking on a shorter defender, right? So chances are he's going to take him on one-on-one, which means what for us as officials?
You want to get close enough to be able to see, really, you want to get the angle to make sure that you see between the players to see if there's any contact, tripping or holding, etc. But you want to stay wide enough to be able to see the next phase of play, which could be a ball across the goal area or a shot on goal and a rebound, something of that nature.
Sure, that's fair. But our next phase of play here is going to be a penalty area decision. Yes, everybody agree? All right. So as referees, we have a penalty area decision looming in the next less than 3 seconds, right? Is this a time where we don't want to be in the frame?
You do want to be in the frame.
we need to be in the frame, right? Because when it comes to these big decisions in the penalty area, proximity is going to be just as, if not more important than angle, right? You need an angle. You want to see between the players. This contact here is going to be at the feet, right? But proximity is what sells our decisions, our big decisions in the penalty area, right? So go ahead and play it forward, Sonny. So has the referee, we use this term in CONCACAF a lot, has the referee arrived or is he still arriving?
He's still arriving.
He's still arriving. Right now, by the time he arrives, the decision's already occurred. Right, so pause it there. So that's the point of contact. Does he have Albert, you've talked quite a bit about angle. Does he have a good angle?
No. Another defender came and sort of blocked him.
Yeah.
No, actually, that defender made the contact. And
yep. So if we go back about 3 seconds, Sonny. Go back a little bit.
Chris, if I may, 2 seconds before that, Albert. So right here, if you play it a little bit more forward, right where Chris had it before, right there. So at this moment, do you think it's more important the proximity or the angle? At this moment, what do you think is more important?
He's got to get closer.
But what is more important? Because what's going to happen next?
Proximity.
What's going to happen next, you think, after this?
Well, I think it's going to be he's taking it closer, and he's either going to have a shot on goal or he's going to.
Or it's going to be a challenge, correct?
Yeah.
So in order for you to see that challenge, what do you need? Angle or proximity?
Well, you need both. I think because
Fair.
it's a penalty area decision, proximity is going to trump.
But
angle.
But you need to
But
see
if-
the angle first.
Yeah, but if
Okay.
the proximity ship has already sailed,
Then you got to get the angle.
which it has here,
Yep.
right?
So this
now
is
the
the
only
time-
now the only thing left that we can give ourselves is to Rubio's point.
Yeah, so this is the time where you have to come left. Forget about the proximity and come all the way left to see in between those two. And then what you do, once you be able to see between them, which you already made your decision, now you can go in and while you're blowing your whistle, then you cut that proximity. Because what happens here is he chooses proximity, but loses the angle and happens not to see anything. Does that make some sense? So if you have to choose between both, you always choose angle because angle is the one that's going to make you see the decision. Remember, the proximity is to sell, like Chris says, is to sell the decision, especially in the penalty area. But if you can sell it because you can't see it, then there's nothing you can do. So the proximity in this case matters only because it's inside the penalty area, but you need to get the angle. Angle always trumps it, right? Because you need to be able to see in between them to get that decision. So at this moment, he has to be coming wide, has to be. And again, there has to be a little bit of acceleration, a little bit of change of speed, a little way before this, but there needs to be some change of speed in that based on what the players are going to do.
No. Sonny, so if you go back to the very start of the clip. Okay. This ball, and I probably could have cut this clip about 3 seconds earlier. So this ball has already been played forward and the referee is late to react, right? So that's what we mean when the proximity ship has sailed because we've missed the breakdown and we haven't accelerated into the transition, right? So we haven't had enough dynamic movement and you're going to hear that term a lot, especially in the way we approach positioning and movement nowadays. We talk about dynamic movement all the time, not just around the penalty area, but through the midfield as well, right? So he hasn't been dynamic enough. He hasn't accelerated through the midfield into this next phase, and he's left himself stranded on a big decision, right? Anybody else have anything to add here? You can just let it rip, Sonny. So at any point in the clip, do we see a change of speed from the referee?